So we write a lot of code, but a lot of the times we're not really thinking about security vulnerabilities as we're writing the code. Most likely you're using third-party packages where you might be using utility functions wrong, or the order of which you're executing the functions might be wrong. It's easy to miss these things while we read documentation. Essentially, with Tembo's security vulnerability scanner template for our automations, we have a fix for this. So we have this thing running daily at 8 in the morning, but you can set it to be weekly or monthly. The agent instructions are basically saying that you're scanning through the code base and your job is to identify security vulnerabilities. For example, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, like authentication flaws, insecure data storage, hard-coded credentials, basically things that sometimes you code at night and you don't even think about these things and you're pushing code and it's like now it's in the Git history, etc. Like we all have made these mistakes in the past, and maybe there's some old code like laying around that you haven't touched in a long time, and therefore this would probably find some interesting snippets there. And it goes through and does all of this, and then we've told it to essentially create a linear ticket for each of these identified vulnerabilities. If you wanted it to actually go and solve it, you could basically here just say solve the issues, like that, and then just like that, it's going to go ahead and solve them and create PRs instead. And then if you wanted to, you could make the fifth thing here, send a message in #general on, then you tag Slack. So with this, essentially, it's instead of creating the tickets on linear, it's going to solve them and then send a message in general on the Tembo Slack. So I hope you see kind of the primitive here where you could customize these automations and instructions to work exactly the way that you want them to work. Not long ago, it ran, and we have a bunch of these tickets now where there's potential security vulnerabilities. And of course, there's different severities, etc. This one that we're looking at right now is medium. Apparently, we're using JWT decode instead of verify. And while this might be intentional for local CLI usage, it bypasses signature verification. So the impact here is that tokens are not verified for authenticity. There's a potential that the tokens can be tampered with, etc. Here's the file and lines of which it's happening, the code snippet right here of what it caught, and the recommended fix. This is one potential, problem that we could have had inside of our app, but now Tembo found it and let us know. So if I wanted Tembo to now solve this, I could actually just assign it to Tembo too, and it's going to go ahead and solve that and attach a pull request to the same issue in linear. So yeah, this template is installable if you go to the automations template library right here and click scan codebase for security vulnerabilities. Use this template, use it, and that should be it. I hope you learned something. I will see you in the next one.